Live from Waterford and the Virgin Media Broadband Studio in Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories. The Mental Health Commission says it's totally unacceptable that children are still being admitted to adult mental health units, including Waterford. A scuffle has broken out between beef farmers and the boss of Meat Industry Ireland. A Waterford-based technology company is hosting a recruitment afternoon at its global sales office tomorrow. And in sport, Ballygunner remain the top team in Waterford hurling after winning 6 in a row in yesterday's county final. The Mental Health Commission says it's totally unacceptable that children are still being admitted to adult mental health units. The Commission has identified 12 areas of high-risk non-compliance at 3 of its approved centres in Waterford, Clare and Cork. Niall Colbert reports.
The Mental Health Commission says 8 children have been admitted to the Department of Psychiatry at University Hospital Waterford since last July. This is despite its lack of age-appropriate facilities, while inspectors also noted that not all staff involved in the care of children had training in Children First. John Farley, the Chief Executive of the Mental Health Commission, says this is totally unacceptable, but is still a common feature of mental health care practice in Ireland. There were also issues surrounding the hospital's use of CCTV, staffing and use of physical restraints. Meanwhile, the acute psychiatric unit at Ennis Hospital, County Clare, had 3 high-risk ratings for personal property and possessions, individual care planning and general health. Inspectors said that medication management procedures at Onacurra Centre in Middleton, County Cork were not consistently safe. The medication trolley was not locked at all times, while drugs due to be returned to the pharmacy were seen as being stored in an open box. Inspectors also said there were not enough showers for the 21 residents at the centre.
The first meeting of the Beef Market Task Force has been postponed after chaotic scenes outside the Department of Agriculture. The talks were due to take place following an agreement between the sides over the dispute, which led to blockades outside dozens of meat factories. Stephen Murphy has the latest.
Angry scenes outside the Department of Agriculture in Dublin this morning. Some farmers jeered and shoved representatives from Meat Industry Ireland who were trying to get into the building.
We're not standing for it anymore. A deal was a deal.
After the scuffle, which lasted around 10 minutes, MII's Cormac Healy left without gaining access.
The legal actions in relation to protests and blockades outside meat plants have been honoured.
But farmers dispute that, and that's why they didn't want today's meeting of the Beef Market Task Force to go ahead.
The future is very bleak for us unless we can get some sort of a good deal on the table, and at the moment there is no deal.
We're not accepting that there'll be any talks on these injunctions to be removed on behalf of these fellow farmers.
The planned talks, which are due to discuss issues like the prices farmers get for their cattle, have now been postponed. Dermot O'Brien is from the Beef Plan Movement.
We would ask Minister Creed now at this point to please intervene to get this closed out, get all the injunctions lifted so that we can move forward.
After the clear anger on display today, moving forward will be easier said than done. Stephen Murphy at the Department of Agriculture in Dublin.
The British Queen has outlined Boris Johnson's proposals for new laws. In an elaborate ceremony in Parliament, the Queen's speech focused largely on law and order. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe has more.
This morning began with the cellars in Parliament being swept for gunpowder on a day of old traditions before the Queen was brought to Parliament in a horse-drawn carriage to start a lavish ceremony.
Black Road!
The Queen commands this honourable House to attend Her Majesty immediately in the House of Peers.
It's the speech the government uses to announce its intentions for the upcoming parliamentary term. While law and order was prominent, Brexit was the main focus.
My government's priority has always been to secure the United Kingdom's departure from the European Union.
The Queen usually wears a special crown studded with 2,868 diamonds, but it's now too heavy for the 93-year-old monarch to wear, and it sat in front of her as she spoke.
My government remains committed to working with all parties in Northern Ireland to support the return of devolved government.
While the Queen was in Parliament, one MP was held hostage in Buckingham Palace in case anything happened to her. But the speech was delivered without incident and MPs will debate it this afternoon.
A Waterford-based technology company is hosting a recruitment afternoon at its new global sales office tomorrow. Spearline, which is based at Arc Labs in Carriganore, tests phone lines for audio quality and connectivity globally. Chief Commercial Officer Liam Dunn says they work with companies like Visa, MasterCard and Google.
They all have hundreds of call centres across the globe, and our platform basically helps them answer more phone calls, generate a more profitable call centre operation, and that's what we do. And I suppose we're delighted because we're officially opening our Waterford office on Tuesday the 15th of October. 1 to 6 p.m. is a recruitment open day. People are free to come in, ask as much questions as they want about the company and the roles that are on offer and stuff. But it's really nice for us because everything started for us in Waterford. Our two co-founders, Matt Lawler and Kevin Buckley, myself, we're all in college together in WIT.
He says there's enterprise sales roles on offer.
The customers that we work with are all large multinational organisations. We back ability and brains more so than experience, looking for people with drive, ambition, the ability to learn fast. And we've got a lot of enterprise sales roles that we're looking to fill the office in Waterford with as soon as possible. We've had phenomenal growth over the last 4 years. We've grown by 600%. So we've tapped into a really, really big market, and what we're looking to do now is just capitalise and drive on and be as successful as possible.
Waterford city businesses need to start opening later and closing later still. That's according to one local business owner. Jim Flash Gordon says city centre businesses should start transitioning towards being open for evening shoppers as a way of combating poor morning footfall. He thinks Waterford could borrow some proposals being made in Dublin to entice the public here.
The way Dublin works is they come in at 9, leave at 5. The shops open at 9, they close at 5. So they're looking what happens if the shops don't open till 11 and open till 7. Would they gain extra traction? And the feedback they're getting is that, people would stay shopping later on, and that, I think retail as we see it needs to change, and needs to change with people's wants.
Whelan's pharmacy owner Brian Tynan is a member of the Waterford Business Group. He forecasts a change in opening and closing times as well, but doesn't see it working for everyone.
People are kind of going straight into work for, say, 8 o'clock in the morning and working later and then picking up stuff on the way home from work. It is something that we are going to have to address in Waterford. Unfortunately, it is on a business-by-business basis. So some businesses it would suit. Businesses like my own in Whelan's Pharmacy, our busiest time of the day is actually between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, down the line, as there are more and more people you'll be hoping in a busier city centre focus, I might look at opening or extending my hours until beyond 6 o'clock in the evening. Don't tell my staff. But that is what all businesses are going to have to look at, and look at their own individual business.
The Japanese Gardens in Tremors opened a new visitor experience which includes an authentic tea house and visitor audio guides. The project was opened with Fáilte Ireland investment through the Storytelling Interpretation Grant Scheme. Agnes Aylworth says the audio guides are available in 5 languages, including Japanese, to cater for the garden's ever-increasing number of visitors from Japan.
We have a tour guide, Keith Guinan, but he has been recorded now giving the tour so that when people come in bad weather, we can bring them in somewhere. They can sit down in their comfort, they can look and listen, and then they can get also a lot more information. We have a whole slideshow about the construction of the garden, a whole slideshow about the colour in the garden at different times of the year and so on. And then there's the interactive touch screens where they can press a button and find out all the plants in the garden or find out whatever they want to know, and we can keep adding to that information base.
The Japanese ambassador Mitsuru Kitano officially opened the new attraction.
I'm very much positively impressed and how this garden and attract people, and coming here and visiting and touring in the garden, and also that would be a good gateway, mutual understanding between Ireland and the connections between two countries.
WLR Sport.
Very good afternoon, I'm Gavin. Whelan starting with Gaelic Games, and Ballygunner have landed their 6th County Senior Hurling Championship title in a row after yesterday's impressive win over De La Salle in the county final in Welch Park. The Gunners prevailing by 124 to 115. The Gunners led 111 to 1-6 at the interval, with man of the match Desi Hutchinson and Eddie Meany exchanging first half goals. De La Salle did reduce the deficit to 2 points in the second half, but the Gunners finished with a flourish. Pádraig Mahony shot 12 points in total. Paddy Levy, Barry O'Sullivan, Peter Hogan and subsequent altitude Connor Power all hit scores as they secured the News and Star Cup for the 6th successive season. Gunners boss Dara O'Sullivan says they always expected a strong challenge from Sal.
Sure, yeah, but look, we were under no illusions. We knew we were going to have to dig deep today, like, you know what I mean? They're a phenomenal side too, in fairness to them, and you see what they've done over the last 12 months and how strong they've become, and they'll be back, Sal will be back, you know what I mean? But look, we are absolutely so proud of our lads. They're a phenomenal bunch of people, and that's, I get emotional here, but that's what they are, a phenomenal bunch of people. And you put them together and they row in and they're best friends and they live together. You see them out in Grow HQ on Saturday, Sunday morning having their breakfast together. They're phenomenal lads, and we are so proud and we're so lucky to have them in Ballygunner.
Man of the match, Desi Hutchinson, scored 1-3 in his first county final. He said it was very special to win his first county medal with his brothers Wayne and JJ also on the field at the end.
It is, of course, and to be honest, it's them two that drove me all year, and I look up to them, and I think Wayne was going into his 17th county final there today, so the experience of that it's unbelievable. And then JJ coming on, rallying us, it's great to be involved with the two of them, and it's probably the best day I've ever had in sport.
Ballygunner can now look forward to another stint in the Munster Club Hurling Championship. They will take on the Clare champions 6 Mile Bridge away from home. That will be coming up on the 3rd of November. Maurice Shanahan, meanwhile, has confirmed to WLR Sport that he has been told he will not be part of Liam Cahill's Waterford panel for the 2020 season. It had been understood that the Lismore man was to retire from inter-county hurling. However, Maurice has stated that's not the case and he'll speak on the issue this week. The Irish Examiner also reports this morning that Noel Connors, the 2019 captain, was also told that he won't be part of the Daisha panel for next season. Rugby, and we should know it in the next couple of hours if Bundy Aki is available or not for Saturday's World Cup quarter-final against New Zealand. His disciplinary hearing is underway in Japan after being red-carded for a dangerous tackle in Ireland's Pool A win against Samoa on Saturday. The Connacht centre is unlikely to be cleared to face New Zealand in Saturday's quarter-final, despite Samoa coach Steve Jackson saying they would assist the player with his hearing. Elsewhere, head coach Joe Schmidt has been given a clean bill of health ahead of the showdown with the All Blacks. Robbie Henshaw came through his first appearance of the tournament unscathed, while Joe Schmidt has no fresh injuries to report. Ireland have beaten New Zealand twice in their last 3 meetings, and out half Johnny Sexton says you need to play the complete game of rugby in order to do so.
I suppose being clinical, whenever you do get a chance to try and take it. Sounds easy, but it's a lot harder to do against such a quality team, and if you can do that, you give yourself a chance. Obviously your defence has to be top. The best it is, we've got to be at our best in that regard, and then our discipline and specialness as well. So, that's pretty much the whole game. So we need to be pretty close to as good as we can be in all aspects to get the result that we want.
Pool A winners Japan have climbed to their highest ever world ranking after securing their qualification for the quarterfinals for the very first time. Jamie Joseph's side are now 7th in the world, leapfrogging the French, who dropped to 8. Ireland remained 4th in the rankings behind England, Wales and New Zealand. Soccer in the Republic of Ireland will train at their match venue in Geneva this afternoon ahead of the crucial Euro 2020 qualifier with Switzerland tomorrow. Following Saturday's scoreless draw with Georgia, Mick McCarthy's side know they must win at least one of their 2 remaining games in order to seal automatic qualification. England could guarantee themselves qualification for Euro 2020 tonight. Gareth Southgate's side are away to Bulgaria, knowing they can advance with a victory. However, they would also need Kosovo to slip up against Macedonia. Finally, there's an 8-race card at Gowran Park today, the first going to post at 1:35. That's the latest on WLR. More at 2.